Hi, I'm Ed Amoroso from Tag Cyber, and I'm here with a longtime friend and colleague, Mike Jenner, who is now the CEO of ControlCase, but an experienced executive in this industry and really looking forward to catching up. Mike, it's nice to see you.
It's great to see you, Ed. Been a long time.
Oh gosh, we're a couple guys. I guess just 5 years is like 5 minutes, so it goes fast. Mike, before we get into kind of like talking about some different things, tell us quickly about Control Case, and then we can get into some of your perspectives on industry.
ControlCase is a security consulting and compliance company. We've been around for about 15 years. We're a global business. We have clients, I think, now in 40 countries
Mm.
and employees in more than a dozen countries. We have major offices in the U.S., in Northern Virginia, Toronto, and in Mumbai, India, and then satellite offices in many states and countries around the country.
That's a nice setup. That sounds like a lot to work with. What attracted you to the firm? Because I know you and I have both been in and around tech and telecom, and
I got to
the
tell a story, Ed. I got to tell a story, and
uh-oh,
it's
this is going to be
going to
bad.
involve you, Ed. It's going to involve you.
Uh-oh.
So, like 20 years ago, I was at AT&T while Ed was the CISO at AT&T, and I was working in product management group, and we were all just excited about how the internet was changing everything. It was going to connect everything in the universe. Networking with computing and software was going to change everyone's lives, and we were just really pumped about it. And it was our job to find ways to provide services, new services to our customers, AT&T's customers, and we were just thrilled and excited, and it was just an amazing time. And so we went to this event. It was a big sales event at AT&T, and there was probably 5,000 people in the audience. Mostly customers. Some employees like myself and my team. And the guest speaker was Ed Amoroso, and he proceeded to tell us, that internet thing that and all this stuff going on with the democratization of software and all that stuff and everything connected everywhere, it is wonderful for the world, but it also introduces tremendous risk. And he proceeded to explain to us about how everything being connected and maybe not so high level engineering standards and some of the software that was being deployed was going to create a climate where there was tremendous risk as well as opportunity. And it was a wonderful speech. It had a lasting impact on me, Ed. And for the next 20 years, I've worked in
Oh boy.
several companies focused on, making sure the internet, networking, computing, software, storage and all that stuff is deployed in the right way to help businesses be more successful. The words you said 20 years ago, every day coming true. The threat environment for businesses as they take advantage of this technology is ever changing and very demanding, and almost everything, well, I would say everything Ed predicted 20 years has come true. And so when I had a chance to go to ControlCase, which is on the forefront
Mm.
of protecting businesses, it was really exciting to me, and it was like coming full circle at right from this conversation.
Well, one thing you guys are
That's the
doing,
story.
yeah, I believe it. That sounds like something I'm guilty of. Do a lot of that. But when I first became aware of Control Case, Norm Latimer told me about what you guys were doing, and I love the idea of the as a service kind of
Yeah.
nature of this. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, you guys are delivering this in a pretty convenient way to customers, which is not what I'm accustomed to when it comes to compliance. That's for sure. Seems like a good approach.
Yeah, I mean, I learned early on as a provider of security services or, co-location, hosting, application management that, buying an appliance or, some software does not guarantee the safety, of your infrastructure, your assets, or your data. It's the way that you deploy it, configure it, maintain it, and manage it on a constant basis, which ensures that your investments are going to yield protection for your business. And one of the elements of ControlCase is the continuous compliance offer, where in addition to doing, audits on a periodic basis, on a daily basis, we're helping you ensure that all the assets in your environment are secured and in compliance, with the standards with which you operate. We found, I think, at any given point in time in a year, 70% of the assets in our clients' networks, when they're not being continuously, managed and monitored, are out of compliance, and that introduces risk. So the whole concept behind continuous compliance is, your security partner should be helping you all day, every day, to make sure that your security posture is what you want it to be, is being properly maintained and managed. So that's an important part of the way we partner with our clients. And as I've in the last few weeks had a chance to talk to clients, it's something that really rings true to them.
The thing you and I are used to and that we grew up with is this idea of compliance being like an annual event or like
Yeah,
this thing that's done to you. The team shows up and you
yeah,
got to go through their clipboard. My favorite compliance story, I remember one time DHS, it wasn't DHS then, it was whatever they were called in the government. They wanted to come in and audit a SCIF, a secure facility, top secret facility. And in the compliance book, it said, you have to be, the security operations center has to be, less than a 5-minute walk to the SCIF for whatever reason, in case there's an emergency. And the facility at AT&T down in Bedminster, the SCIF's right across the hall from where the SOC is right there. So I remember the clipboard person being there saying, okay, well, requirement 81-3 has to be less than a 5-minute walk. And we all went, okay, good. What's the next one? And she goes, no, you have to do it. We went, what?
right there.
Like take that a stopwatch. I'm not kidding. And the door is here, and somebody walks across the hallway, turns around, she clicks the stopwatch and writes like 8 seconds and wrote it down. And when you see that, you're
That's
conditioned.
good compliance, Ed. That's good compliance.
But you know what it does? It conditions security teams to think the whole thing's dumb. And that's what bothered me then. That's why, like, you guys are doing it differently. I think you're delivering something where you feel like there's value. Because then I remember I told everybody that story, like, oh, it's so dumb. But compliance is important when
Yeah.
it has to be delivered properly. Does that resonate? I'm guessing when you're talking to customers, they probably, a lot of them make a face when you say compliance. You have to show them that there really is a lot of value there, right?
Look, I mean, doing an audit once a year is better than, not ensuring that
Yeah.
you're following your processes and your procedures. So, you're not going to hear me suggest that, annual audits are not useful, but the
Yep.
best way to deal with it is to couple it with a continuous compliance program.
Mhm.
And it does two things for you. It makes sure that, on a daily basis, the infrastructure you're trying to maintain and configure and monitor is properly set up.
Mhm.
And it also reduces the time associated with completing that annual audit. So not only are we trying to help clients, throughout the year maintain a more secure environment, we're also trying to reduce, the pain associated with those annual audits. Um, we spend a lot of money on development. We have a fairly large development team in the U.S., in Canada, and in Mumbai, India. And a lot of work that they do is making sure that the audit process is automated as much as possible.
Mhm.
One of the elements of ControlCase that is really exciting is the ACE, engine, the Automated Evidence Collection Engine. I think ACE stands for Automated Compliance Engine.
Yeah, it makes
And
sense.
it makes a big difference in terms of the collection of the evidence required to satisfy your audit requirements. And when you couple that with a continuous compliance approach, it really reduces significantly, 30, 40%, I have heard in some instances, the work effort necessary to prepare for that, that annual attestation.
Mike, I want to take a left turn here. We're filming this in August of 2020, towards the end. We're still kind of in this whatever portion of the pandemic we're in. I'm curious what you think, like as a executive and as a CEO of a very cool tech company. What's been your observation about like sort of the effects of people working home and just this real change in infrastructure? Any observations? And it can be anything from, just things that have impressed you, or it's problems you see, or what are your thoughts as we've kind of gone through this very weird
It
six
is
month period?
weird. I mean, it's like the whole world changed,
Yeah,
overnight.
yeah,
And the thing that strikes me is how resilient, people and businesses are to the
right,
change.
right.
And March, very sobering, April, as well. But in the last few months, you see businesses all over the world and the employees in the businesses, just finding really interesting ways to continue to provide service, whether you're in, essential industries like, providing food and, healthcare services, or you're in industries like ours that are securing environments that people depend on to provide those services. Um, it's it's amazing to me. It's like all the rules for how we work together changed just a couple of months ago, and people are adapting really, really quickly using some of that cool, technology that we all speculated about 20 years ago
Yeah.
that enables everybody to be connected and to work together. So the first thing is, man, the rules totally changed. And wow, look at how the world has adapted. And that's probably the most profound kind of impact on me. And it makes me feel pretty good about what we do. All of us, like we're doing today.
Yeah.
Keep on finding ways to provide value, and provide essential services to everybody around us.
The internet has sort of held up, hasn't it? I
Yeah,
mean,
it has.
you flip a switch and suddenly the entire world goes home. Well, not
Yep.
everyone, for first responders and a lot of people
Yeah.
we depend on haven't had that
Yep.
luxury. But for the rest of us doing work
Yep.
online, I remember thinking right at the beginning, I wonder what's going to happen. How clogged will the networks be? But I guess welcome to TCP/IP, right? The fact that
Yeah.
it was designed to deal with that.
Yep.
Security's been an interesting sort of angle, though. I think be interested in your take on this. It's almost, dare I say, been a growth period for cybersecurity because this pandemic has exposed
Yeah.
how vulnerable we are to like look how dependent we are on this. You and I are
Yeah.
on a conference
Yep.
bridge. What if this servers,
Yeah.
supporting our discussion were being DDoSed? Then
Yeah.
we're not having a discussion, right? And there's
Yeah.
no,
I mean,
no fallback.
if yeah, I mean, we're today more dependent on, the interconnectivity that we all have than we were, 5, 6 months ago. And we were already highly dependent, but we can't even interact. Most of us can't even interact and conduct business,
Mm,
without this at this point. And so the thing that comes back to me is, that moment 20 years ago when my colleagues and I, many of them, well, are just really pumped about what could happen, when everything gets interconnected and works and is efficient and cheap. And this is an example. And then the flip side of that is, wow, everything's connected. Somebody in the middle of nowhere with a laptop could disrupt this conversation. And or state-sponsored, agents, which is something you mentioned 20 years ago. And I'm like, really? Really? Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. And all that stuff is out there. So, it's like life. There are many challenges, and the best about all of us is how we rise to those challenges. And nothing's like challenge free. So it's an awful time, scary time, uncertain time, an amazing time.
yeah, I think it's all of the above. It seems
Yeah,
like you're having a good time running this new company, enjoying the new gig.
I love it. So many talented people all over the world. I had a conversation, not every place is as locked down as we are here in the US. I had a conversation with one of our sales reps in Vietnam, just outside of Ho Chi Minh City, and they had very little COVID in Vietnam. And most of our clients were doing most of our work remotely, but in Vietnam, clients want you to come on site.
Yeah.
And the sales person in that country, smart, really understood what we were trying to do, understood the needs of our clients. It was, just a great conversation. And I think the best thing about ControlCase is the depth and talent that we have as a business. And it's been the most fun for me.
That's wonderful. Well, Mike Jenner, CEO of ControlCase, on behalf of all of us, people watching, I want to thank you for spending some time. If people are interested in learning more, I assume the website probably be a good place for them to visit to get a little bit more about ControlCase. Hey, Mike, it was great catching up with you, and look forward to seeing great things from you and your team.
Count on it.
Nice to
Thanks,
see you.
Ed. Have a
And for
great
all
day.
you, we'll all see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.